I'll do a quick screen recording to start on this one, okay? On this particular assignment here, just to make sure everybody will have an idea what to do and all, okay? For this one, so I think if I were you doing any form of decent 3D modeling at all, what I tend to want to do in general is I like to have an overall idea of how big I'm modeling anything at all. Okay, so what I'll do is generally I will start with a box first, and then I'll create a box with a certain dimension first. So I know that a chair cannot get, usually do not get bigger than 450 by 450, yeah? So I will start by modeling a box 450, 450, 450 first and all. And then after that, I will right click on the move transform type in, right? And then from here, I will move the box. I will move this box to 0, 0, 0, and then I'll do a zoom all here so that I can see this thing all together nicely, deep at the center, like that. And I always like to see my 3D object at the top right hand corner. So I will just change this to a 3D view, like that. All right. So I can see my XY object here and all. And then I like this one to be my front view, and I like this to be my left view, like that. So that I can change this one to, I'm just going to change this one to a solid color, and change it back to a wireframe like that. Okay, so I will press G key, G to turn off all the grid lines that I really don't need at this point. Okay, so once I'm done with this already, what I'll do is I'll do a quick save as first. I'll just save it as, let's say exercise O3 part 2. Okay, just like that. And then I'll put it inside here. Okay, I'll put it inside my, well, I don't know where this is. I'll put it inside my lesson folder first. Hold on, my DR1 lesson folder. I'll just put this inside lesson 08 for now, and then I'll just save the max file. Okay, so once I've had this, I know this is the chair's base. Okay, then I will make another clone of this one as a copy. All right, and then I will raise the height higher. So this one, I know the backing will probably be a little bit higher. This one will be about 800 or so. So I will make this one maybe 350. Okay, a bit too low lah. Maybe a higher chair, higher backing chair. This is about 1.2. 1.2. This one I'll put it about, let's say 750 or so, slightly higher like that. So they kind of stack one above another. Okay, so what I'll do is I can just do a quick move, right? Snap to endpoint, and then I will just do a move from here to here, like that. So I can see this looking like this. Now, once I'm done with this, I can then select these two objects and right click under the object properties, and then I can make them see-through. So I can define this one as a see-through and click OK. And now I can see this one as a see-through object. All right, and then from here I will right click again to freeze the selection, so they cannot be selected anymore. So I know I have a set of guideline grids that I can work with, like that. Okay, and then next to do this, I'm going to do the legs first, let's say. So to do the legs, I will go to create, and then I will click on shapes, and then I will click on lines. So I will create the one line somewhere, let's say here, 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 and here, like that. So I will see, you will now see that I have the legs somewhere like this already. Okay, purposely do like that. And then from here, I will be able to go to the modify tab here and expand the selection, right? The sub-selection mode, so that I can tweak the vertex points. Then I can move around the vertex points to the area I need. let's say something like this. And once I got this, I will then be able to change the coordinates, right? To make sure, okay, it is all landing on the floor. So I'm just going to change them all to 0. Something like that. And there you go. Okay. And then that will pretty much take care of the one of the legs for now. So in 3D, it's going to look something like that. Okay. And then with this, I will then select, let's say, the leg now that I've created. Let's say I will just call it a chair leg for now. And then I will be able to right click to call out the move transform type in again. And then I can, I can start to shift them. This one is the x-axis, as you can see down here. If you take a look at this one, right, it is the x-axis. Okay, so I can move the x-axis to and fro this way just by sweeping this. Okay, so I'm going to make it negative 200, negative 225, because that is exactly half of 450. So enter, it will end up on this side here, somewhere on the left down here. Okay, like that. All right. And then when this happens already, so I am good for the legs at the moment. All right. Next part, then I will begin to work on the the chair body itself. Okay, the resting area here. So according to how the map, okay, how the base reference is this. So I'm just going to start drawing the shape, like this, like 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, and 5, something like that. Okay, this kind of shape. So I will just start by drawing something under create. Okay, under the create tab, under the shapes category here, the shapes tab, and click line. Okay, so I will just start by drawing this one. 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Notice I'm doing a pretty crappy job doing this. So I'm not even aiming, I'm just aga doing only. Okay, then I'll close the splines like that for now. Okay, and there you go. I think I've got the shape somewhere here like that already. Okay. Then after that, let's take a look at the second bit here. So once I've got this one already, it's actually 1, 2, 3. I can then add on more points. Okay, I think I'm not doing this correctly. So I'm just going to add on more points. I'm not going to delete and redo. I will add on more points by going to the modify tab and expanding the line sub selection mode. And then inside here, under the vertex mode, I can add on more things. Okay, I'm going to minimize all the headers first so that I don't confuse you too much. And we're going to go to geometry header. And under the geometry header, there is such a thing called a refine command. Okay, the button is somewhere here, refine. So we click on refine, and then we can add on more points here, like that. Okay, so I can add in as many points as I need, so I can increase the resolution of the lines that I want to do. So once this is done already, I will right click on the screen to finish off the command, and then I can now manipulate the vertex points. You see, notice I can move them around, I can do whatever is necessary for me to tweak it, and so on. Okay, like that. And once I'm done with this already, I can go back to 3D view, okay, and then I can raise the chair that I need. Okay, before I do that though, I want to raise it up so that I can get it to the correct height, because this is the seating height, right? And then to do that, I can simply just do this. I can drag the slider, or I can punch numbers. I know that the chair has a standard height, right? Because we human beings don't change very much very often. So I'm just going to change it to, let's say, 450 and raise it up. Okay, like that. And then I've got this chair down here, seating. And once I got this at this height, then the rest will be quite more manageable already. So what I can do is I can rotate this now and go into the vertex sub-selection mode, and then I will be able to move the chair to this height, move this one to this backing. Okay, the line not very clean at the moment, but it really doesn't matter, no big deal, because we're going to deal with it later. Okay, so I'm just going to add this guy to the absolute correct height, which is 1200. So down here I can change the number here to, let's say, 1200, so I can be very precise about it, and this one to be at 1200 also, this way, and then I've got more or less the chair in order. Okay, and then I will do some tweaking here to move this one so the backing is in a little bit, and then I will tweak this one to move it out a little bit this way. Okay, the backing pieces and all right, and this one in and this one in a little bit, and then the top view, this one in a little bit also. All right, so it's going to look something like that right now. Okay, now next will be making the magic happen, making it all smooth and curves and all that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to, under the vertex sub-selection mode, select one of these vertex here, right? You see it's all corner, right? It's very edgy and rough. We're going to make this one, select this, Windows select this, right click, and then change it from the corner to a Bezier. Alright, so I'm going to click on this and change it to Bezier, and then once it's in Bezier mode, I can then manipulate the curves this way. Okay, I can tweak it and then I can move it and so on. So I can tweak this curve right now. If I need it to be more precise, I can go to the various three-dimensional views here to fix it this way. Alright, then I will be able to tweak the curves how I need it and all. Okay, and then notice the curve down here is not very smooth. It's very jagged actually. It's very jagged because under the interpolation header here, it is set to 6 by default at the moment. So if I change this set to 6 at the moment to something more, if I increase the number to, let's say, 18, then you notice now the curve becomes very curvy, and then it doesn't look very rough and angular now. Okay, this one like that. So we can make this guy really curvy this way. All right, and then when this is done, we would then be able to do next the other one, the backing itself, right? So I'm going to select this one again, this vertex, and right click to change it to Bezier again. And then once we change it to Bezier, we can now tweak the curvature itself of the chair. Alright, so I'll just leave it like this for now, okay, because it's changeable, I can still tweak it. And then after that, I'm going to work on the other one, this base down here. Select this. Oh, this one's already Bezier, so don't need to make much change. I can tweak it. Oh, this one's a corner. I can right click to change it to Bezier again, and then I can fix it this way. Right click, Bezier. Alright, there you go. So we can tweak it for now. This way, something like that. Okay, something like this. And then finally, I'm going to right click this one and change it to Bezier also, so that we can now begin to tweak it and twist this a little bit, and to be able to change the profile of this right now, to control it properly. Okay, like that. Alright, so this way it will allow us to change the curves like that. Okay, still a bit too curvy. I don't like it. We're going to tweak this somehow this way. I will adjust this one to 0. I will change this one to 225 so that it lands right in the middle. I'm going to do the same here for this one to 225 as well, and this one to 225 as well, which is the center line, like that. So if you notice, that's exactly half of it this way. All right. Then I can later on move everything to the center line. Okay, like that. What I'll do is from here, I will move this guy backwards to 0. So I will move it back to 0 so that it is exactly at the midline point, so that we can tweak it later on. This one. I'm just going to shift this one back to 0 and change this one back to 0 also, this way, like that. Alright, so it's going to look something like that right now. And the last point to work on will be this one. I will just change it to Bezier also, so that I can resolve the curves for the backing, like that. Okay, so let's say it's going to be sweeping inwards a little bit like this. Okay, something like that will do. Alright, so I've got the curves for the backing done this way, something close to this. Final one, this one, let me fix this one and get it done, okay? And adjust a little bit so that we can get the curves out nicely. Something like that, okay? And then once we are done with this, let me just right click and isolate this one. Now, the next part here is to try to create a surface out of all these line loop at this point. Okay, once we have a line loop that looks like that, you realize that if we were to use another modifier called surface, let me go to the top level here and I add in called surface. Okay, if I use the surface like that right now, you will find that nothing will be added, and when we try to do this, then the whole line group will disappear. So that is not the right way to do it. Okay, so there's a problem, and what we need to do is to create more definitions for the lines. Okay, so that's why you see from here, right? We need to add in two more lines down here and here to create the definition. All right. So what's going to happen is I will then go to vertex subselection mode, and then under geometry, I will click on create line. So I will click on create line here and snap 3D right here, and then I will draw one line from here to here. Don't weld it. Don't need to weld. Okay, and then I will draw another line here to here. Don't weld. Okay, finish the command off by pressing escape, and then right click to finish the command. And then when we have a definition of the line groups like that, okay, then we go to surface, create this drop down list, and then we call this SUR, right? Look for surface modifier command, and we click on that. Then you will find that we will be able to create the surface itself. Okay, we can click on flip normals here to flip it so that we can see it clearly, and then we can click on this one. We can click on the color here to change it to a color that we are more familiar with, for example, and there you go. Okay, like that. And then when this is done, we should now be able to right click and isolate. We will now see this and this. We will now see the chair's backing already. And then under the plan view itself, if we go to the top view, okay, and we can now select the chair. Okay, chair backing. I'll just call it chair backing. And then we add in another modifier command stack called symmetry, SYM. symmetry. So if we click on symmetry, you will find that when we move the when I expand the sub-selection mode to look for the mirror line, if when I move this, you will expand this guy here like that. Okay, so that's how the symmetry would work, this way. All right, but then obviously we're not doing this correctly because it's that's not how I want it to be, right? So I need to click on the flip command here to flip it and to move this out. So this will now allow me to do a symmetry this way. Okay, so I'm just going to change this one to down here, okay, the x-axis to 0, enter, so that I can have the full symmetry of the chair itself. Let me just right click and isolate the selection one more time so you can see it very clearly this way. Alright, so once I change this one to 0, and then we will see the entire chair being built this way. Alright, and then once this one is done, I will add another modifier stack to it to give the chair backing some form of thickness here. Okay, so this thickness I will just call it shell. Okay, this shell command down here, shell, and then I can give it an outer amount thickness of say 20. Alright, once we got this one, you will find that we will have the shell thickness here already. Okay, 20 is a bit exaggerating. I'm just going to change this one to 10 down here. Okay, so you can see the thickness quite clearly down here. Okay, this one. All right, and I will end isolate so that we will now see the chair. Okay, so I'm going to do the same for the legs now. I'm going to work on the legs itself. So next I'm going to select the chair legs and go to the front view and the vertex here, and I'm just going to change it by moving it a little bit inwards, so it looks like it's a bit of an indent a little, this way. All right, and once that is done, I'm going to use, okay, I'm going to create a curve for this one, the legs also. So I'm going to go select the vertex point, right click and change it to Bezier again, so I can now tweak it to become a curve. Same thing, window select, right click, Bezier, so it becomes a curve also. And under the interpolation, it is still by default 6 steps. I don't want it 6 steps because it is too jerky, too edgy. I will change it to 18 so that it becomes a very nice and smooth curve like that. Alright, and then obviously I need to make some tweaks so that it will join up nicely and all this way like that. Alright, so this is how the curvature will now begin to happen this way. Alright, and when I'm done with the curvature tweaks, right, what I will do is I will create another mirror again, okay, using the symmetry command. So I go back to the top command, okay, the lines top selection mode, and I type in SYM to see the symmetry command again, symmetry, and then I'm going to use the Y, I think still X, if I'm not wrong, should be using the X. Hold on a minute, let me change this one to mirror and use X. Let me try X and see what happens, right? When we move this, do we see anything or not? No, not working properly. Okay, let me try using the Y selection, cannot. Actually, I should be using this view. Okay, let me try again this one, not this one. Then I've got to use the Z selection mode and try to shift it to see whether I can see a mirror or not. Now under here, if I cannot see the mirror, something is quite wrong. So I will use the flip to see whether I can do this or not. It's not showing up properly. Never mind. Let me do it later. So now I have the line already. Now I have the line already. Let me just hide away these things. Okay, I'm just going to select these two things and right click isolate it so that I don't need the guidance box. And then here, at the moment, if you see, if I do a random